DJC Game Studios. What's up, everyone? I'm the devastating Just Cause, and this is DJC Game Studios, and welcome to the show. And it's a special one because if you clicked on this video, you're probably wondering, how do I start collecting for the Intellivision? That's right, this beautiful looking console right up here that was released in 1979 and went all the way to 1990. Through many different versions. There was an Intellivision 2, a Super Pro, an Intellivision 3, the INTV company that purchased it from Mattel after it went out in the late 80s, and that kept going till the 90s. They had flashbacks, they had plug and play kind of stuff, they have a huge homebrew scene, and everybody nowadays is looking at this and going, well, is it expensive? Can I get into this? Is this something I can afford to start collecting for in the year 2025, right? So let's get at this, and I will show you some games that I think are probably going to be the best to start collecting and the hardware to best start with for your collecting. Now, mind you, there is ROM cartridges out there, flash cartridges, like the Backbit, the LTO Flash, which is really sought after, and the Pi Retro 2, which is on eBay at the making of this video. There's so many different ways to get ROMs and do it that way, but if you're looking to collect, most of the games are not that expensive until you get into the really rare ones and the ones towards the end of the system's life. Now let's talk about the hardware, and then we'll get into the must-haves to start your collection and get you kind of comfortable with the controllers and how this system works. Now the model 2609, that's the original one here, and you'll see it. I have a bunch of them up here. Those are the ones that originally came out, the gold and wood grain and brown with the disc and the bumpy keypad. And your keypad on most of these games, you're going to have an overlay that goes over it to kind of show you what to do. Now, as far as the hardware, this is it. This is the one you want to go with. This is your starter. Don't go with the 2, don't get into the Super Pro or System 3s. Start with the original. These hold up great. Just make sure if you're finding one on Mercari or eBay or on Facebook Marketplace, get it from someone that's played it, has tested and knows the controllers and the system work, and they play a game. That's the most important. I know there's a lot of trust there, but this system, the 2609 gold, wood grain, brown, this is the system you want to go with, hands down. Most likely you can get one that's in perfect working order between, I don't know, 70 to 100 bucks. I would not pay over 100 unless it's flawless in box. But this system, this is the one you want to go with. Now with the Intellivision system, you really want to talk overlays. If you're going to collect complete in box. They're not that expensive to get, similar to the early Atari games, not too bad. And then you want to have the overlays and the instruction manual. Now some of them are just reiterated numbers, but some actually have different functions on the buttons. So you're going to want to know how to start the game, how to pick levels, how to pick different options. Like this is Space Hawk. Do you want to drift? Do you want to have direct? Do you want a smooth, a quick, auto fire, single shot? Lots of different things you can do for a lot of games. This one here, Space Spartans, you have hyperdrive, computers, repair, status, number of aliens, engaging stuff. There's a lot to do, so always when you're purchasing a game, try to get it complete in box with the overlays, because they're not that expensive and it's going to save you hassle for not understanding the game. Now you're starting your collection. Now everyone back in the day started with Las Vegas, poker, and blackjack. This is simple. It'll really get you familiar with the Intellivision controller and how the overlays work. Picking games, hit, stand, doubling down, different card playing techniques. This is how you're going to learn this Intellivision controller. In my opinion, it's how I did way back in the day. But this is one cool, funny game. You have the angry dealer when you lose. But he can make you go bankrupt because he is shifty-eyed and he always has something up his sleeve. What is the first one you want to get, or the first few you want to pick up? I would say this. Get the originals to the Intellivision. You got Las Vegas Poker and Blackjack. You have Buzz Bombers. You have Astro Smash, Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, Space Armada, Thunder Castle, Tron Deadly Discs, and Nightstalker. So these are all simple games. They're not very expensive to purchase. Get them with the manual and the overlays. You are good to go. So let's take a look at these games in action and then get to some other ones which may not be exclusive, but some really cool third parties. And we're talking Burger Time, Pitfall, Stampede, and more. Rolling. Now here we are playing some Las Vegas Poker and Blackjack. Now this was the pack-in for a long time when the Intellivision originally came out. This is fun. This is playing a little Blackjack here, showing kind of how you enter stuff in and how you bet and how the dealer throws the cards. And this is fun. It also comes with 5-card draw, 5-card stud, 7-card stud. And there's Blackjack has always been a go-to to mine, and I love the faces on the dealer. Really fun game. Alright, now here's another favorite. This is Buzz Bombers. Kind of an original game. You're shooting, let's just say, wasps. And you have a hummingbird that's feeding off the honeycombs, and you have to let him feed. He will give you points for that. So basically you shoot the wasps, or the bees, or whatever they're supposed to be, with the pesticide. It was the 80s. And that's what's left behind. And you could also, poison the bird if you shoot him too many times, and he'll fly away and come back later. He'll turn green. There's some cool cutscenes as you get into the higher levels, and it's just a strange but wonderful game. And it plays Flight of the Bumblebee every time you're not shooting. Okay, Nightstalker. I used to play this for hours on end, trying to get through all the robots. You started with the Lost in Space Danger Will Robinson robot, and then you had the bats and spiders that would constantly paralyze you. You had a gun that just had, I believe, 6 bullets, and you had to. And once you ran out of those bullets, another gun would appear somewhere in the maze. Depending on what's in the maze, it was kind of hard to get sometimes. But you had a bunker that would only save you until you got to one of the last robots. That blast the bunker apart. And then a final robot that also does all that but is invisible. Okay, what can you not say about this one? Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, AD&D, the original. I believe one of the first console video games ever to have this license. And it's like you're going through the dungeons, you're kind of creating them as you're walking. You have a bow and arrow, you're searching for quivers and more arrows, because if you run out of arrows, the dragons or the demons or the snakes are going to get you. It is all out fun. You got to find the key, the axe, the boat, get through all the terrain, and make it to Cloudy Mountain for the crown. Now here it is, Astro Smash, a classic staple on the Intellivision. I played this for many hours, so did my dad. I think even my mom got in on this one. This is such a fun space shooter, simple. You could set it for side buttons to fire one at a time, or you can do the auto fire. And you also have a hyperspace, which will transport you randomly if something chases you, like the heat-seeking missiles. The twirlers are not allowed to hit the ground, or everything blows up, including you. Each stage is represented by a different color, so you have black, you have blue, you have gray, you have magenta and turquoise. 6 levels, and after the 6th level, it just keeps getting faster and faster and faster. This is a fun game. I highly recommend playing this. in practicing and getting good, because you are going to have a blast, or should I say, a smash. Okay, the first thing you're going to say, this is a Space Invaders clone, but it's done so well. And does it bring the nostalgia feels? Ooh, yeah. This is done really well. Space Armada on the Intellivision. If you love Space Invaders, you're going to love Space Armada. The color palette's really nice. It's a lot of different modes as well. Eventually they become invisible. It's really fun. There's spinner bombs, regular bombs, there's UFOs. All the fun of this type of space shooter. This is, once again, not an expensive game and a great one to add to your collection. Yes, here it is, the medieval times. It is Thunder Castle. Now you start off with a garden hedge that's kind of alive. The walls and all the levels kind of move and pulsate and open and close, which kind of makes it a cool concept, right? You have power-ups in the first level. It's the bats, where you become invincible, where you can slay the dragon. And then eventually you make it to the castle, where the wizards and the rat is your power-up. And then you make it to the dungeon, where the little demons come after you and the skulls are your power-up. This game really has a lot going on, and there's so many levels to show off, but we can't really show them all here. But just to give you an idea, here is the first level, and it is just a fun game. And it's a favorite among Intellivision fans, for sure. Here it is, the Tron title on the Intellivision. Now, mind you, there are two more, Mazatron and Solar Sailor, but this is the one that kicked it off, and it is an Intellivision fan favorite. Deadly Disc, you run around on this grid, you try to open up all the doors and eliminate all your players. Now, you have a block button, and you can shoot in 8 different directions on the keypad. Some people are so good they remove the overlay and just go by the feel of the buttons. So if you're that good, anyways, this is a great and fun game. It's one of my personal favorites, and you'll have hours of fun playing this. And the better and better you get, the harder the enemies come in and really try to do you harm. And the Recognizer comes, the giant red, I don't know, hallway arch, I guess you could call him. Anyways, if you can take out his eye in the center, you could short circuit him, and he'll leave the screen without closing up your doors. But this is a fun one. Well, here we are, burger time on the Intellivision. I almost want to call this a perfect game on this console. Now, I used to own the arcade machine. I eventually got rid of it because I played more of the Intellivision version when I wanted to play Burger Time than I did the actual arcade. Is the arcade's graphics a little flashier, maybe? Slightly. I mean, it still was the 80s. I think the charming pixel graphics of the Intellivision, the blue ladders, the black background, the color palette they use is colorful. The music is spot on and beautiful. All the animations look great. The dancing wieners, the egg, the pickles, everything in this screams fun, and it's Burger Time. What more can I say? And if you were to say, hey, DJ C, Mr. C, and I'd be like, Mr. C? Who am I, Howard Cunningham? That's a Happy Days humor for you. But I would say, what? And you'd be like, if I were to only buy one game to start my collection, because I don't have a lot of money, I just want to buy one game just to show that I want to collect for this system, I'd say go pick up Burger Time. A gem in its own right. Now, this one I had when we had our Intellivision back in the day. Now, this was based off an arcade game by Data East called Lock and Chase. And I had never played it in the arcade. I had recently played it on MAME and some emulators, you know, some arcade things now. But it's, back then, the only way I knew of this was on the Intellivision. And this is a beautiful game. It's a maze style. I guess a lot of people will call them like a Pac-Man sort of clone, but to be honest, it has a different concept. You can't kill or eat the police officers. That would just be weird. But you're in a bank vault. You're a thief. Your name is Lupin, and you are collecting all these coins, and you're trying to get to the main vault in the center where they're doing a deposit. When you see the dollar sign, that's when that's happening. By the way, you are being pursued crazily by these police officers, and if they catch you, you are done. You have so many lives. You clean out one vault, move to the next, and if you can escape, more and more prizes are waiting for you. You start with a top hat, then you got a purse, then you got a telephone, I don't know, a Xerox printer. I can't remember everything else. Maybe it's inkjet. Anyways, a lot of little things that you can kind of rack up on the sides, and it's a fun game. It's addicting. It is very challenging. They recently did a new homebrew where they added extra levels and different features, and you also have a feature where you can lock, so you can throw up gates 2 at a time until they dissolve, and you could trap the police officers, and you'll get extra points for doing that by locking them up. Anyways, this is fun, and I hope you enjoy this, because this is another great one to have. There you have it. Now you're an official Intellivision collector. Welcome to the community. Now there's a lot more games. This is just a small list to compile some very inexpensive but very cool games for this system. And I'll tell you what, there's a lot more stuff. Some honorable mentions are Demon Attack and Beauty and the Beast, as well as all the ones that are on other systems as well, as River Raid, Frogger, Pitfall, Stampede, Worm Womper. There's so many more very, very cool games and ports that came to this system that are just a very superior port. There's a lot of these games I played on the Atari as well, so I'm kind of just giving you some ones that are pretty nice just to have for the Intellivision. And then we get into the homebrew scenes. I have videos called 15 Homebrews You Should Play Before You Die on the Intellivision. Check that one out. There is a lot of stuff, a lot of games for this system. There's over 200 brand new games ever since the Intellivision originally went under. So this is a big community, and it's a it's kind of a big deal. Or if you're playing Burger Time, a big dill. Okay, anyways, until then, please like, please subscribe, and we'll see ya in the next one. DJC Game Studios.
I was collected for the MJ chicken